Okay, hello there and welcome to my program Back in Time. Today our topic is Shakespeare and his play Macbeth. We will be busy because this program is full with interesting interviews and exciting people. So what I'm waiting for, let's get started. Hello and welcome to Mr. Shakespeare here and and Dr. Guggenheimer.
Thank you. Hello.
Yeah. I will start with you, Mr. Shakespeare. Why have you choose to be this particular person?
Well, to be or not to be, I haven't really chosen. I was just born this way.
Well, it's very interesting. But Doctor, you have studied Shakespeare for over 52 years now.
Yes.
Can you quickly tell us about Shakespeare and why do you think that people, including this man, is so fascinated by Shakespeare?
That's obvious. He's a very famous writer and he was born at Stratford upon Avon in 1564. And he came from a wealthy family. And his father was a prominent local figure, and his mother was just a local family. And he had 3 children while he was alive with Anne Hathaway. And he has written some of the greatest plays of all time, and that's why he's such a fascinating person. But I don't get why people try to act like him, because there was one Shakespeare. There will never be anyone other than him. So trying to be him is just ridiculous.
Yeah, well, it's an interesting point of view. Will you answer?
I disagree with that.
Why?
Because I'm obviously born in a straight line directly from Shakespeare until my generation, and I obviously see some clear traits going through all the way. I can definitely see most of Shakespeare's personality in me, so it makes perfect sense that some of his natural talent would be in me as well.
But it's 450 years ago he was born, so how can he... I know there is a family relation, but it doesn't mean that you are Shakespeare.
Well, the Shakespeare legacy has to go on, and it goes on throughout time. It doesn't stop at any time, and I'm the next in line. I'm taking over.
But you are not Shakespeare. You're just one of his descendants, you could say.
Well, I'm Shakespeare in my mind, and that would
Have
be
you
enough.
written anything? Have you written anything good?
He has written all this stuff. I'm just taking his place because he's not alive anymore.
Well, let's move on. Most of Shakespeare's play are tragedy, which means that it's a form of drama and literature where the end is unhappy because of the hero's downfall. What do you think is the most important information in this play and why? Like tragic flaw or tragic hero or others, kind of information that we use.
I personally love the touch he did with the tragic hero.
Yeah.
That you can have a hero touch a story, and he at the same time can end up in that situation, become the tragic of the whole tragedy.
Oh yeah. You agree?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
I think they all fit together. So if there wasn't a tragic hero, there wouldn't be a tragic flaw, and so on. So they all fit out together, and I think that this is a very important thing in Shakespeare's plays.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Good. The last question for you, because we are running out of time. What would you say to Shakespeare if he still was alive today?
Well, isn't that obvious? I really like him. He's a good guy. I mean, I can see why a lot of people would try to be like him, and then I'm really grateful that I have the opportunity to be such closely related to him, and I would just thank him for that.
Good. And you, Doctor?
I would say thank you for writing such great plays. I think it's gold in literature. So I would just say thank you and good work.
Thank you very much to coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello again, and now we have a new guest in the studio. Welcome to you, Heather.
Thank you.
On Tuesday, your theater plays Macbeth for the first time, and you're actually the director. Why have you choose this play, Macbeth?
Why I chose it?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's interesting because witches takes place and kings and queens and there's murders and betrays and everything. So
Yeah.
it's like it's a good mix.
Can you tell us about Macbeth?
Yeah. Well, Macbeth are told by 3 witches that he is to become king, which leads to Macbeth killing the king with help from Lady Macbeth. He then becomes king and he's haunted by the king himself. And the rest you just have to see for yourself on Tuesday.
Yeah. Why do you think that people still read Shakespeare today, and why is the Shakespeare play become so popular?
Well, I think it's because, we can relate to his plays and his characters and the feelings and everything. So I just think that's probably it.
Oh, well, thank you very much for coming. And now we will talk to some actors. And now welcome to the actors. Hello, you 3.
Hello.
Can you
Hello.
tell us 3 words about your characters?
Yes, of
Should I
course.
Yeah.
start? Yeah, I'm Lady Macbeth. I
Yeah.
would say that she's a very strong and ambitious woman, and she's very manipulated against Macbeth.
Okay.
Yes.
What about you?
I'm King Duncan, and I think he's a very powerful king. He's very reliable, and he ends up dead, which is a very important thing about him.
Okay. And
No, I'm Macbeth. I would say have become a very popular person. Also known as very brave, but at the same time I'm also a little bit split personality at the moment.
okay.
Yes.
Yeah. The next question is, one of the characteristics in this play is Lady Macbeth and Macbeth's relationship. Can you tell us about this relationship and how it develops through the play?
Yeah, well, it starts up with that Lady Macbeth is very manipulated against Macbeth. He's kind of a handpicked person, I would say.
Yeah.
I guess you could say that, but he tries to make the best out of it. He doesn't want to feel like he's being manipulated, but at the same time he sees her views, her way of doing it. He sees it as the right way to gain power, whatever he's searching for.
Yeah, Lady Macbeth doesn't think that he's cruel enough to make this murder, so
No.
she tries to manipulate him to do it. And
Yes, and I guess the fact that Macbeth, he has taken the words of the witches, he's taken them to him,
Yeah.
and he keeps thinking about them all the time, and that also has part of what he lets his wife manipulate him with.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you?
Waved.
Who do you think is most ambitious, Lady Macbeth or Macbeth?
Well, I would obviously say Macbeth.
Why?
Because he wants the power that he's deserved, as the witches has told him, and
Yeah.
he ends up getting it, one way or another. He is the one that has to perform the acts, the acts to success, which includes killing the king and stuff like that, and also ending up wanting to kill Banquo and such to be the ultimate king.
Okay. And do you agree?
I kind of disagree. I think
Yeah.
that Lady Macbeth is the most ambitious, because if she hasn't pushed him and manipulated him to do it,
Yeah.
maybe the murder never would have happened.
Oh, yeah.
So
that's
if
interesting.
she wasn't-
Yeah, point of view.
Yeah, if she hasn't manipulated him, maybe he just would just be Fane of Quarter.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But can I say something?
Yeah,
I
of
think
course.
from the king's point of view,
Yeah.
after he has been murdered by
Yeah.
Macbeth, I think the whole thing here is the ambition comes from both of them, and
Yeah.
if Macbeth didn't have his Lady Macbeth, then nothing of this would have happened. But also, if Lady Macbeth wouldn't have had Macbeth, then the same thing would be. So
Yeah.
I think they really need each other to kill me.
Yeah. Okay.
We
So-
did.
Well, so Sophie, why do you think that King Duncan of Scotland is a very important person in this play?
I think he's a very important person, of course, because he's the one standing in the way
Yeah.
of Macbeth
Yeah.
becoming king. But also that his whole character is really proud and how can you say, powerful. But in a very how can you put it, a very I don't know sensitive way,
Yeah.
kind of.
Okay.
So I think he's very important.
Can you tell us one of the themes in the play?
Yes, one of the themes is this ambition
Ambition. Yeah.
that we just talked about. I think that's one of the main
Themes. Yeah.
but also the tragedy.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
the chaos.
Chaos, yeah.
Yeah.
The cares. Yeah.
And you see the constant strive to achieve power and success. I think that's very important as well.
Yes.
Yeah, and what power can do to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So, what is your favorite theme in Macbeth?
Theme?
Yeah, scene.
Oh,
Scene, yeah.
Scene.
Oh.
Difficult one.
Yeah,
Yes.
it is. I think one of my favorite scenes was actually one I didn't notice at first, but it was the one where Macbeth is just struggling and he's very torn, and he's at his own party. He's
Yeah.
just become king, and Lady Macbeth really tries to enlighten him, and it's not really working.
No.
I really love the scene in the beginning where you
Okay.
see the brave Macbeth returning from war, and it's him all this glory from
Yeah.
all the other soldiers and whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I like the scene when Macbeth sees the dagger and
Yeah.
when he go in and kill the king.
okay. Then thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yeah.
for letting us.
Yeah,
Of course.
and maybe thanks
Yeah.
for tonight.
Yeah. Jeg troede det. And thank you very much for this interview. And now we go on to see you guys rehearsing the Macbeth.
Yes.
Okay, we're now rehearsing for the play Macbeth, and we will start with Act 1, Scene 6.
Your servants ever have theirs, themselves and what is there in count, to make their audit at your highness' pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand. Conduct to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By your leave, hostess.
We will now go on to Act 1, Scene 7, where Macbeth enters.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well. If we're done quickly. If the assassination could tremble up the consequence, and catch with a surcease success, that but this blow might be the be-all and the end-all of here. But here upon this bank and shoal of time, we jump the life to come.
Thank you very much for tonight, and I'm looking forward to see you next week.